I forgot. We have to do that manually.
Wild and Weird Radio, everybody.
We have to do that manually, Joe. Unfreaking believable.
Oh man! So just to fill you guys in on why this is not your typical episode,
We have
we're
detached
technical
the
difficulties, and we are limping into home port, as Ron put it earlier. But we're gonna make it happen because we love you guys, and we're here for you.
It's like we just had a shootout with J-Sock.
No, man, I believe if this was like Next Generation or something, we would have. We separated the saucer section at this point, and that's where we're at with the technology here. So, but we're rebuilding.
We're rebuilding. Thanks to the executive
Mr. Scotty
of this show, Adam Good, Theresa,
Mr.
History of the Tri-State, Dewey Edwards, Spooky Appalachia, Larry Hose, Guitarchains Craig, Travis Aurednik down there at the Deep End Antique. Everybody go check him out. That store is just a trip. Geoffrey Steele, Russ Bailey, Chris Coots, Ada Cox, Nancy White, Scott Holbrook, BigfootLittlefoot, Tommy Swiger, Terri Summerfield, Sarah Ramsey, Julie Bug, Finding the Trackway, L.W. Marshall, Donna Ho, and Angie Breeden.
And let's throw Patrick Bailey on there as well, because no one's going to support the show any more than that guy right now. So let's
and Patrick Bailey.
Yes, absolutely.
You guys are all what keeps this show chugging along, and all of the stuff that you have provided is what's going to get the show back up and going as usual. Hopefully later this week or early next week.
Well, it'll happen eventually. That's all we care about. But we're doing all right here for right now. Man, what I don't know. What have you guys been up to other than watching the snowfall?
Yeah, a lot of snow. We got iced in up here on the mountain because the normal guy that takes care of our hill for the HOA here. I think he either had one of his other employees or hired somebody else to do it other than him, and they phoned it in. Almost nobody got off the mountain today.
Yeah, you can't do that. That's
it was bad.
Yeah, I think we got kind of lucky in our area, however, from compared to what it was supposed to be, according to some of the doomsayers I'd seen.
That's true.
So I'm not going to complain. It's nice and fluffy. It's not like that terrible.
Yeah, it's not the wet, nasty stuff like what they were saying was going to come.
Yeah, so I'm okay with that. Brandon, what you got going on over there in your world?
Not a whole lot. Just been working on more projects and stuff lately.
Well, that's exciting.
More projects. Man, I'm hoping. I'm actually going to get to work on something new tomorrow. I'm pretty excited about that. And pictures, I think, were posted today. If not, they were at least sent to us of a project that we worked on that was titled Go Fast.
Ooh.
And if you go real slow all the way back to one of our first YouTube videos, you'll see Project Go Fast going really fast at the time.
And then it hit a speed bump. But I think we actually showed some of the footage of that a couple of episodes back, so you guys can go in there and check that out. But yeah, it's in momentum, and you're going to get to see some of that really, really, really soon. Yep. And
it looks awesome where it's
installed. It looks pretty cool. That's all I'm going to say about that for right now, and let everybody else let them announce it, because it's out of our hands at this point. So it's Freebird, right?
Oh yeah. Well, we do get to do a live broadcast from there. We're going to do a live
right
once they open.
Right. We sure
guys,
will.
We are, of course, talking about the Mothman putt-putt in Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Yeah. And it's going to be pretty epic. Pretty
epic. Cool.
Yeah, it's pretty epic. It's gonna change some things.
Make sure you wear a white shirt when you go in there.
Oh yeah, or neon green.
Yeah,
something neon.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe. I talked to Jeff when I was up there. I told him, I said, you need to make a whole line of neon shirts.
What'd you say there? You broke up a little bit on the audio.
So you guys can look for that on the horizon.
You broke up on audio. What'd you say?
Oh, I told Jeff that he needed to make a whole line of neon shirts just for that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, that'd be great. That's a good idea." So yeah, it's well, hopefully you guys can catch those.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Remember, you guys, you can always reach out to us at wildandweirdwv@gmail.com. You can send us stories, you can send us encounter reports, or you can send us a request to come on the show. We're always open to people wanting to join, and we've got some guests coming up soon that have sent in requests to wildandweirdwv@gmail.com, so it will work for you, I promise. Now, you think it's time for the news?
I think so. Let's go ahead and hit the old news button over here and
boy.
make this happen.
It's always fun to jam out to that
Always.
news tune.
Yeah, extremely fun. Well, where do we start?
I would like to start first and foremost on the funniest news release of the week. And, I hate to say we called it, but, we called it. The alien mummies.
They're back in the news again. Yeah. Breaking a lot of people's hearts, Joe. Breaking a lot of people's hearts.
I know, right? Did you see them dressed up?
Yeah.
That was the best part.
Yeah.
It looked like they were getting married.
They look like E.T. Barbies whenever they're dressed up.
Did.
Yeah. That was...
E.T. Barbie Dreamhouse.
I don't know what to say about this that hasn't already been said, but like I said, there's a lot of people who are tying their reputations onto these things because they want to believe so badly.
Yeah.
And the desperation to believe is going to be the absolute damnation of the field of study being taken seriously. And that goes with everything, in my opinion.
It is. It really is. And that's very apropos for tonight's topic.
Yeah.
It was confirmed that these mummies were made from bird, dog, and other small mammal bones. And then the argument was made, well, these could have been ancient. They could have been made as effigies. Well, not according to the compounds that bound these together. They were compounded by modern synthetic glues. So it wasn't even, whoever faked it didn't even try to use pitch to glue these things together to make it look as if it could have been ancient. They used super glue.
Yeah, or even tree sap. I mean, they could have at least tried.
Right.
I have no comment on this anymore. I really don't. I don't even want to touch it anymore. I mean,
well, I don't think anybody has to at this point. It nails in the proverbial coffin, so to speak.
Yeah,
I want to see
that's good.
The response that some of those TikTokers who kept pushing that this thing was real. I want to see their stupid responses to it, honestly.
I have some very decent internet friends out there who support the show, and I'll support their stuff, and they are tied to this. And I hate to see it. I really do, because it's like, it's going to be what it's going to be. And I really hope that in time they understand that we don't have to be married to these subjects in such a way that, they define everything. Because they don't, and it's just, you can't do that. You can't tie everything to one thing, and because if it unravels, it makes the rest of your argument look really bad. So more data. We got the data, and now there are people who are still denying it, much like the Miami aliens, which is still going on, by the way. I saw another video of that. Yeah, saw another video from that crap this week, and what was really wonderful, gave me hope for humanity, actually. Someone had actually responded to one of my comments on one of their threads on TikTok about this, and I really don't care anymore. So I'm like, I'm just going to call it as it is. They were on there talking about how this and that, and they were asking a legitimate question on this guy's page. He couldn't give them an answer because he didn't know, but they said that they hadn't seen any police videos or any videos other than what they had seen with the police and whatnot. They hadn't seen any news videos and whatnot. I'm like, well, it's there. And I point them to our page, and lo and behold, we now have another subscriber. They liked what we did so well that they came over and subbed the page, the YouTube page where we went over it in Alienville. And There you go. I mean, the data speaks for itself. So there are people who are actually still out there looking for real data, and we can't just assume that everybody uh, is out to be a huckster. They're actually asking legitimate questions sometimes, and that's the ones we need to get to.
Yeah. Also, one thing you got to remember too is that everything that comes out is not real, unfortunately.
No, no.
Like probably 90% of it is going to be bull crap.
Well,
Sad to
and
say.
it doesn't matter. The point is, if you don't go look, you're never going to know if it's bull crap or not, Brandon. And I
It's
think
true.
that's the issue. We have so many people, like I said, who are just convinced they know what this is. A case in point, what we saw with the Corbell thing. I mean,
Yeah.
honest to goodness, guys, I don't know what that is. And if you're going to tell me you know what that is, you're lying. You don't know what that is.
Um, so this goes along with what we're discussing tonight, but there's a lot of people on TikTok who legit don't give a crap about the subject. They're
Right.
just there to get clicks. They don't
Right,
believe
buddy.
it. They don't really
Yes.
care about the science. They're just there to post videos to get people to watch their stuff.
And
Yeah.
that happens on
Oh.
YouTube as well. And YouTube
Yeah.
is actually trying to step up and I think recognize people who are trying to deliver actual newsworthy type content as well.
Mhm.
And we're not seeing that on other platforms. We don't see that on X. We don't see that on TikTok. We don't see that on Instagram, for God's sake. We don't see it on anything. So, some people say that's censorship. Other people say that no, that's really not, because there's a line. There's a
Well,
line
and
between outright lies.
And that line, too, can exist between
Entertainment.
information and entertainment.
Yes.
And that's where the line needs to be drawn.
Yes.
If you're out there making sensation clips, sure, you're fantastic.
Hey, P.T. Barnum did it.
Right. And it worked. It worked great for him. He made
Yeah.
it famous. His name is still spoken today
Yep.
because of what he did.
I mean, he acknowledged the fact that he was faking stuff just to get people to come and see.
That's the whole point, though, Brandon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten to the point now, unfortunately, in society, and this is scary, in society, to where we have to have a disclaimer that says this is for entertainment purposes only and is not true,
Mm-hmm.
or this is a news type, here's the data, unbiased. Remember, I don't know if you guys know this. We talked about this years ago. Back when we were growing up, the news was not a biased thing.
And it wasn't politicized the way that
It
it is
wasn't.
today.
It wasn't. You turn it on and you heard both sides of an argument. Every time you hear both sides of an argument. Today, you do not hear that. Today, it's one side. It's a bent, kind of thing.
And it was almost, and I'm sure some people will disagree with me here, but it was almost like at the end of Tom Brokaw's era
Yeah.
that things started to really decay. And when that
Yeah.
old, you remember the old brown background that they had
Mm-hmm.
that looked like a felt or cloth background?
Mm-hmm.
When that went away, that's when things started changing. It became
I
more
think,
commercialized.
honest to goodness, I'll tell you when I think it changed. I think that the change happened during the first Gulf War, when CNN had those cameras on the beach when those landing crafts landed. Do you remember that scene? I don't know if anybody remembers that scene,
I
but those soldiers were terrified because, and those reporters were idiots. First of all,
Well, those soldiers were mostly kids.
dude, they were on a beach before the soldiers landed on the beach.
Yeah.
Think about this. I mean, they're lucky they walked out there.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say about that. They're lucky they walked out there. Like you said, those were kids, and those were kids who were ready to do their job. And here's the media on the beach. Why in the world is the media on a?
Why did the media know where we were going to land?
Can you imagine that in D-Day?
Oh, yeah, that'd have been game over.
This is
It
what
was
I'm
already
saying.
almost game over because it was the only place to go.
This is
But
what
if
I'm
there
saying.
had been media there, then it'd have been lights out.
Exactly what I'm saying. So I think that is when it all kind of changed, and it started going into a direction of, moving people to, this team versus that team. We don't need that, but that's where we're at, and I think that's our problem with a lot of this stuff too.
I remember Bill Hicks had a joke. He goes, "Hi, this is the left hand. Hi, this is the right hand. We're controlled by the same puppet." The same puppeteer.
I mean, it is like a battle royale at times. Let's be real. I mean, and that's kind of where we stand with a lot of this stuff. And I think that we are seeing a lot of those plays being made today, especially with some of these claims. With the video of Corbell's, by the way. So everybody jumped on that, and they had their 2 cents to say. It's a balloon. It's a smudge. It's a this. It's a that. It's a spider web floating in front of this. And now there's more video that came out. And is it the same thing? I can't tell. But there's rumor that there's more than just those. That the one guy who they interviewed had said that there was 3 videos at least that he had seen. More data, and now we have more data. I don't know what it is. Like I said, I'm not going to profess to know what it is. But I don't think it's simple enough to say it's just balloons. I don't see that. When you've got 10 people out there with night vision goggles who have been tasked to look at this thing, according to what they were saying, 10 people went out there to look for this thing, and they were given directions on exactly where it was, but they couldn't see it. Now, we're going to have to run some tests, I think, on some balloons and see what they look like on night vision, just to quell this.
On night vision and on thermal.
Don't you think?
Oh yeah, cool. It's easy enough, and luckily we have the hardware. We can.
Don't you think? I think we should do that. I think we should get us some helium balloons.
We need mylar, as well as rubber.
Exactly.
They're claiming it's a cluster.
Exactly. Let's get a nice cluster of them, and let's take this out and conduct some experiments. Let's tether them and get some experiments, and see what it looks like tethered, and then let's rig up a system to where we can move those things, and see if the movement changes the way that they actually look or track or anything like that.
Well, I already have a cable ready for that. I've got some aircraft cable that we can rig up and put a weight on it, and it'll slide down, so that way we don't lose the balloons.
Perfect. As soon as the weather breaks, we're going to go out and we're going to do this, because I want to see it, and I know a lot of our viewers want to see it.
And it also goes to show some of the super chatters exactly what we're doing with what you're sending.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's give them a little bit of that, that debunking, so to speak, thing. And if there's something there, it'll prove out. And if there isn't, it won't. That's the way I see it.
Then one last snippet in the news here, and it's not even really a news article, but it's something that we referenced in the forecast.
You're going to hang on. You're getting
mindful, because it has already started where politicians
are
going to use the UFO as and all of the UAP mess with their election runs. It is election year. It is going to be a hot topic. It is going to be a thing where you will hear them say, well, somebody's told me this, somebody's told me this. And the American people want disclosure, and I'm here for disclosure. And they're going to use that as a running point. Just remember that politicians generally maybe fulfill about 1% of those promises that they make on the campaign trail. And that a lot of these UFO stories that they're going to be telling could very well be fluff.
Also, you have to remember, Joe, that there are multiple accounts over the years of politicians who have run on that platform. Yeah. If I get elected, I'm going to do this. That doesn't happen, especially with the UFO stuff. It does not happen. And they change their tune almost immediately, even if they are elected. So,
no. I remember Bill Clinton.
All of them. Every one of them did it. So it's just not going to happen.
Jimmy Carter.
Well, Carter was vested. He had a sighting. He wanted to know. Yeah. Reagan, same thing. He had a sighting. He wanted to know. And that's just the nature of the beast, so to speak. And so just be prepared to hear a lot of crazy stuff. And we're going to be trying to stay on top of it. And like this balloon theory thing. Let's test that, for example. I want to see. And we're not going to talk about the chandelier video
Yeah,
at this
right.
point, because I don't know what to think about that yet. I want a lot more data than just a picture and a story, and that's all I'm going to say about that one. Until we get a little bit more, I can't
Yeah, we
go
need
any
to-
further.
Well,
than
if
that.
our listeners have figured out anything over this 180 episode run thus far, is that we will at least sift through the data to give them the best possible information.
That's right. It is 180
So-
episodes. That's crazy.
Yeah, we're 100. This is episode 180, which is we're 20 away from hitting 200 now. Now, if we
crazy.
include all of our lives, we're over 200 now.
Right. But
the
just
lives don't
the
count.
podcast,
And this is just the audio only side.
Wow, that's crazy.
And that's really cool.
Yeah, just the
That's
podcast.
really cool.
That's pretty awesome. Well, kids, I think that's going to be the news. We're going to wrap it up until next week, and I'm pretty sure we'll probably have some more crazy stuff to talk about at that point.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because it's that time of year, and we're just going to see what happens.
Oh, hold on. I have a prediction.
Yeah.
This week, it's going to be a dog man running crazy at a bus stop in Detroit.
Might as well be.
Might as well throw a dart at the board, blonde. That'll work.
Why not? Let's give it a shot. All right, folks, that's the news. We are up with our next topic just in 1 second. Okay, Joseph, what is the topic tonight? Because I hear
Well,
it's going
ladies
to
and
be really
gentlemen,
fun.
tonight's topic is one that is a very debated topic and has been for as long as we've been doing the show and longer. And it has been an issue that we have addressed before, but it is something that is becoming a more, it's become needed again. We'll just put it that way. And this is an episode where we are going to talk about cryptozoology versus everything, because that is the uphill battle. Cryptozoology, if you look it up on Wikipedia, cryptozoology, it says it right out the gate. And part of it is because of the way things are viewed in modernity, right? Is that cryptozoology is a pseudoscience and subculture. That subculture section just got added in the last couple of years. That searches and studies the unknown, legendary, or extinct animals whose present existence is disputed or unsubstantiated, particularly those popular in folklore, such as Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, the Yeti, Chupacabra, the Jersey Devil, Mokele Mbembe, or Mothman. Now, there is this section, okay, of cryptozoology that is truly a real science, and you've heard Ron and I speak about this before, where we work with geckos, and a particular gecko species we own and keep today, which is one of the most prevalent species on the planet now, used to be considered extinct up until the 1980s. The locals said that, oh yeah, no, we see these things all the time, but scientific researchers are saying, yeah, no, we don't see them anymore. But then when a branch fell through the roof of the research center, there were a few of them running around the lab unexplicably. So then they had to recategorize these animals back in science as not being extinct, but now as a thriving population in the wild. And that of course is the crested gecko, or Rhacodactylus corolophus, or Corolophus ciliatus, or Rhacodactylus ciliata, which it's changed a few times. But we, in the field of cryptozoology, and anybody who's interested in the study of these out of place animals or these animals that exist in folklore, we do have to have a dividing line. Where at what point does things occurring in folklore and science and research branch off into the supernatural, and when do we draw that line?
When we have ghost geckos,
exactly, and ghost cats and ghost possums,
right? Then we're in the realm of,
essentially, the community at large for many years has accepted that the Loch Ness Monster is was a fake. That it's being the hoaxed images, along with some of the DNA studies. It shows that there's large eels that live there, but then people start coming in and they start making these claims of out of place animals, like out of time, like time slips. Now that's out of the realm of cryptozoology, isn't it?
Yeah, that's something completely different. That's not cryptozoology. Cryptozoology was a field of actual science. It's not anymore.
It's not, and now there's so many creatures, thanks to the internet, that have been lumped into cryptozoology, like the Mothman, like the Flatwoods monster, like the Grafton monster. So many of these creatures that get lumped into cryptozoology that really are not. Are they, Ron?
No, they're not. They're legends. They're sometimes mythology. Sometimes they're outright hoaxes. Sometimes they're real, and they're just unexplained phenomena. These things have no business being called cryptids, as far as I'm concerned. And I know that I just hurt a lot of people's feelings, but if you look at the actual data again, it's just what it is. This is not the field. The field of cryptozoology. All right, here's a cryptid for you. The gorilla. That was a cryptid.
The
right?
giant panda.
The giant panda. That was a cryptid, right?
Yeah.
The coelacanth. That was a cryptid, right?
Yes.
Okay. Those are real things. Could Bigfoot be a cryptid? Yes.
Yeah.
Might it be something else? Yes.
Yes.
We don't know. See, that's where we get into issues. I think that it's Bigfoot's fault. You want to know whose fault it is? It's Bigfoot's fault.
It's Bigfoot's fault. It really is when it boils down to that subject. And Brandon, you made a really good statement earlier about the field. And go ahead and tell everybody what that was.
So in pop culture, there's no separation between cryptozoology and anime anymore. Everybody just lumps it all together as like this fun-filled, cartoony world of cryptozoology instead of like looking at it as an actual science anymore.
Okay, I'm going to address that too, because you're going to get people who say, well, at least it's getting some attention.
Yeah.
Okay, that's true. It is getting some attention, but it's getting the wrong attention.
Yep.
It's setting the wrong things. I saw a post the other day that someone had said something about Bigfoot, and they said something about, what was it? All you people who are afraid, Bigfoot is your friend, or something like that. What? What? How? What? How do you know? How do you know Bigfoot is your friend?
Right.
This is my question, because, and it's a serious question. I'm not doubting anyone here as far as, what they may believe. That's fine. Believe what you want. But speaking on authority of belief and saying it's your friend, and knowing what we know about people today, as far as they don't check out facts, they don't check out data, they don't check out research. If they're out in the woods and they see this thing and they go up to it to give it a hug, it might rip their arms off. That's your fault now. I'm just putting it out there. I'm saying that.
Yeah.
This is a liability. So don't say things like that.
We're going to cite you on the insurance claim.
They read on the internet that Bigfoot was cuddly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even a panda is going to rip your arms off. I mean, here's the thing. We don't know. We don't know. And to give out, these warm fuzzies about these things, I can't. My mind is literally blown when I see that kind of stuff.
All right, think about this. A chimp who's a little shorter than a grown man can tear off another chimp's arm easily.
Yeah, and beat him with
it. Bigfoot, who's like 7-8 foot tall.
Oh yeah,
to do to you.
It'd be rend in twain.
Well, there are stories. And
yeah, there are.
That's all I'm going to say about that. And we're not going to go into those. But for those who say it never happened, yes, I would advise you to go do a little research. And then you're probably not going to be running up to that thing trying to give it a hug. You're going to be going in the opposite direction, which I believe is exactly what it wants you to do.
Yeah. Now, if you look at modern cryptozoology and the state that it's in and what the internet views and the general public views as cryptozoology, Bernard Heuvelman and Ivan T. Sanderson as outrageous as both of those gentlemen could be, would be rolling over in their graves.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they were rooted, you know, Heuvelman was a Belgian zoologist and Sanderson was a Scottish zoologist. They, you know, they published books dating on back to 1955. It was On the Track of Unknown Animals. And then Sanderson had a TV show that he was doing stuff. And, you know, it was all of these very, very cool, kind of like almost like the Fortean societies of old.
Yeah.
But back then it was the International Society of Cryptozoology, and there were letters you could get and newsletters that would be sent to you monthly. All kinds of stuff, updating you on some of the expeditions that were being privately funded to go look for the Yeti, or to go out and look for the Mokele Bembe, or looking for the Yeren, anything like that, you know. And those were all valid studies. They were all legitimate, you know. And when we start bringing in Mothman, and I understand the confusion with Mothman, I truly do understand it.
Well, we have to, because you mentioned Sanderson. Now, Sanderson got involved in some of those cases as well.
He did.
Especially with like the Flatwoods Monster, for example.
Yes.
You know, who was the Derenberger case, right? He was,
yes.
Yeah. I mean, so we can see that there was a murky, muddy line that kind of started to get formed. It's not just pop culture's fault for existing and grabbing these things. It's their fault for not doing the research, in my opinion.
It is. And when you come into the Mothman phenomena, you know, Mothman wasn't always the name. It was the man bird thing, or the giant bird, the UFO
bird thing. Yeah.
So that that terminology alone harkens into cryptozoology because it's a bird, you know? So you begin to look at it, but then when you start connecting all the dots with the UFO phenomena and the teleportation and the way this thing could move and do so, well, all of a sudden that steps outside of the realm of cryptozoology and into the realm of high strangeness.
Yes.
And many of these entities do. Ron was one of the people that when we did the episode on the knot deer, you cracked the case, in my opinion, on the knot deer.
I mean, it just shows the origin of some of these things. It doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, they are, I don't know. There are people who believe that if you draw it, that makes it real. Like they think it's a game. It's like a D&D. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's like D&D. You can create your own cryptids. It doesn't work that way. You can't create your own cryptids.
Well, speaking of create your cryptids, look no further than creepypasta.
No, gosh.
There's a great example. And it gets quoted every single day.
As fact.
Yes.
Horror stories online. And Brandon is an author of horror books. How many of these creepypastas have you seen floating around on the internet, Brandon?
Oh, God. I've been reading those since like 2002, and I have seen a lot of them come up and grow, like Slender Man.
Yeah.
A lot of people actually thought Slender Man was real for a while. I mean, like,
and there was those murders that took place.
Well, you have to remember, and we'll talk about it because we talk about it all the time. Lie sandwich. There's just enough truth in these things to where people can lock onto it and say, "Oh, that's what that was." Well, it sounds exactly like this.
The Rake.
One of the earliest creepypastas I can remember was actually about Pokemon.
What?
You remember there was a story going around that there was a truck that was in the original Pokemon games that after you beat the game, and if you go to that truck, the last Pokemon available in the game called Mew would pop up and you could catch it. Someone had actually gone through the hassle of creating this fake picture to go with the story of that truck. And it floated around the early days of the internet to all my friends who told me the story. So I was like trying to like beat the game, and so I could find this last Pokemon. It turned out it wasn't even real.
So basically what you're saying is this has become almost a urban legend type scenario is what we've turned cryptids into. They're not cryptids anymore. They're urban legends.
No.
That's what we're getting at.
It's like the Hook Man or Bunny Man Bridge. It's all tied the same way nowadays.
Right.
And these aren't real cryptids.
Yep.
But they get categorized as such by the fandom, so to speak, because that's what a lot of this has become. And honest to God, I love the interest.
Oh, I do too.
You know, the interest is fantastic. And I don't want to dissuade anyone's interest in this phenomenon.
Nope.
I don't want to dissuade anybody's interest in the creatures, because having that kind of an interest is healthy. It's good for the community, but you have to have a dividing rod where you can say
what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know,
you have to have a dividing rod that says this is a story for fun, and this is actually something that could be real. And a third category of, well, this is probably high strangeness. Yeah. Because it ticks off all these boxes. It falls out of biology. It falls out of zoology because it has these supernatural abilities. And modern times, this whole scenario gets reversed. The reason we can't catch it is because it has supernatural abilities, where in the olden days, whenever this stuff started, okay, the folklore told about the creature and what its connection was to their mythologies, and sometimes those were supernatural. But then, like the great panda, the giant panda, and the mountain gorillas, those creatures wound up being real. But they don't have superpowers. They're just very elusive. They're hard to find. They're where people aren't. They could seem mystical. And in modern day, if you go and it's sad seeing it in a zoo, but if you go and you sit and you watch the gorillas, there is still that mystique around the gorillas. When you watch them, you can see what they're thinking. And imagine walking through a forest and you see that thing moving through the forest in the distance, and you hear the noises that they make, but you can't see them. This seems mystical and magical. It seems supernatural, but it's just because nobody had really put their hands on it. Now, modern cryptozoology's taken a reversal of this, where they use the excuse of why we can't find it is because it is supernatural. Well, that falls into, if that's the case, that falls over into the high strangeness category. Yep. At which point, there should be some way to detect this thing, as we've found in the past. With other types of high strangeness, we can go out with our instrumentation and we can find something. Can we not?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's validated data as far as I'm concerned in a lot of cases. Multiple data sets.
So with that said, with where we've covered so far, what needs to happen is we need to just have like a mild correction in the community. Nothing harsh, nothing, because I see so much online where people browbeat the layperson with
they don't know any better,
and they just get overwhelmed, and then they leave these groups entirely.
Yeah, they don't know any better. They're just quoting what they've read or what they've heard, what they've seen on TV. It's made it into cartoons now, man. It's
exactly
cryptid. It's part of things, but it needs to be said that it was and is a serious study, because there are, and like the thing you read earlier, is that the article that you were reading from what school was it? I can't remember, where they were essentially saying that cryptids weren't real.
Which one?
The thing that you were reading earlier when we started this whole thing with.
Oh, yes. That was what I was reading.
That is it, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I thought. That's from an accredited university.
Yeah.
And they're making a stance that cryptids aren't real.
Yeah.
And they're basing it on Mothman and Bigfoot.
Yes.
This is
forgetting
hilarious.
about the coelacanth, forgetting about the narwhal, forgetting about the great panda and the mountain gorillas.
So it's gotten to the point where even academia doesn't understand what the word means anymore.
Correct.
So we can't come down too hard on everybody, because apparently that's the problem. We have forgotten, and those who are forgetting their past are really messing up their future. Let's just put it that way.
I think a lot of
Well,
things that are lumped into cryptids are just simply misunderstood phenomenon. Like you got like the Fae are lumped in with cryptids,
they are.
That's a good
leprechauns are
point.
lumped in with cryptids,
Yeah.
little people. You know, there's a lot of stuff that gets lumped into there, and
Yeah.
I think that's why they're dumping that all together.
And that
Yep.
makes the entire community look bad, unless
Yep.
you're just a fan. If you're a
It does.
consumer, it's great for you. But for the people who actually go out and investigate black cat sightings, go out and investigate Bigfoot, it really puts a black eye on some of that stuff, because it makes you look hokey. It makes you look a little crazy.
Yeah.
And you know,
You're associated with a subject that's associated with this subject that we know is
yes,
laughable. That's what we're trying to say.
yes,
It looks bad. It's the kind of the same thing that's happening out there right now in the UFO world. Let's
right,
be real. I mean, Miami did it.
yeah,
It's a good,
exactly,
it's a good
exactly.
example.
You know, the UAP world, UFO world is getting bigfooted at this
Yep.
point in time.
Yep.
And what we have to do though, because I've seen so many people online, even within comment threads, where they just bash people for even thinking that this stuff is real or thinking that
Yeah.
these things could be out there, and or accepting some reports that what somebody saw was what they actually saw.
Yeah. Don't ever support anyone. That's not good.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know what they
and
saw.
and all we need, honestly, is just honesty within the community
Yep.
to look at these subjects in a way that makes sense. We do need to
Yeah.
use the scientific method in high strangeness as well as cryptozoology. We need to use the biology, especially in cryptozoology, because if it's not rooted in biology, if this is a creature that is unknown to science, but everything about it screams,
Yep.
high strangeness, guess what? You probably need to put it in the high
It
strangeness
needs to be
box.
moved. Yeah.
Yes.
It needs to be moved.
And again, looking back at Bigfoot and Mothman,
Mm-hmm.
one there is very likely, if it is real, a cryptid, or it's something else entirely. The
As far,
other, being Mothman,
yeah.
is not.
No, that's not a cryptid. That is not a cryptid. Out of all the accounts that I've heard, and this terrifying thing is that, several of those accounts sound a lot like what I'd seen. It acted like what I'd seen. That was not a physical thing. It acted physical, but you can't see through something that's physical. Okay.
Mhm.
Right.
That I don't care if it's interacting with your physical environment. You can't see through something that's physical, and you can't explain that with a physical thing. Therefore, in my opinion, that is not a cryptid. Bigfoot, however, I'll give you this. The thing that I saw that I think may have possibly been a Bigfoot or Bigfoot like creature had every aspect of a physical creature. It had every aspect of a physical creature, and I'd say the actual mentality of the encounter that we had of all, that whole night where they were surrounding us on that point there at the camp. That was like a physical thing.
Right. It was
There was
something
no,
that
yeah,
creatures do in the wild.
that was tactical, is what that
Yeah.
was. It was a very tactical maneuver. Wolves do it,
Right.
you know. Your
Predators.
predators do it. Higher functioning predators take this stance, and that's the crazy part because, for all the crazy, weird, out there kind of high strangeness things that I've been involved with, this was not one of them. This was something that I can't say there was any high strangeness to that. Even with the muttering and the sounds that we heard, the weird language, that falls right in line with an actual physical something, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I'll give you my hot take on that whole thing. I think that there's two separate things. I think there's an actual creature that, eats bugs, poops in the woods and whatnot. And then I think there is something high strangeness that acts like and mimics the thing to a degree but then it does all this other weird stuff, like turns into an orb and disappears, and all that weird stuff.
Well, that's subject A and B, and that's where
Yeah.
we've had to go with this because that's critical thinking.
It is.
Yeah.
That's not wanting to believe. That's critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the worst things is that you can go into this and be like, well, if you don't believe the way I do, then I'm not going to listen to you. Well, that's cool, but you're not going to learn anything.
That's like giving somebody. It's like, have you ever accidentally almost taken a bite out of a wax fruit because it looks so real?
I've actually bitten a wax fruit. Yes, I
It's
remember that from way
you put
back when.
two of those, put a real one and a fake one side by side. It's hard to tell the difference unless you actually physically pick it up and look at and examine it. That's what cryptozoology is to me.
And the internet has helped none of that. This world wide web of connectivity has only made this subject harder to wade through. There are individuals who honestly go out and do this work, where they go out and Forrest Gallant is one of them, where they go out and they look for creatures that are being said by the locals that were reported to be extinct. And he goes out and he looks for them. And a lot of the times he's actually found the species. He's found a few tortoises, and these aren't small animals. Some of these are big. Some of them have been lemurs that he's found that were supposed to have been extinct. That falls into cryptozoology because this is a study looking for a real creature that's supposed to be extinct or rumored to be there, but never discovered.
Mm-hmm.
And the work's being done, and it's being done very well by a few individuals. But then you've got your internet clan.
Well, we're just outnumbered. That's all there's to it.
Well, you remember that's what Darwin did when he went out to the Galapagos Islands. He was hearing all these rumors about giant tortoises and these weird looking birds.
That's right.
And
yeah,
he went out there and documented all that.
Yeah, that's right, man. And
put in the footwork.
But here's the thing: today, it doesn't matter. You're outnumbered. You're outnumbered by sensationalists. You're outnumbered by people who want that story, the one with the billion clicks, the one that gets them, monetized instantly, the one that makes them have to sit there, and now they have to come up with something else next month because after this one fades, the money stops coming in. What are they gonna do? So it's a snowball
effect. Last month we had the Giants door. This month we have the Miami alien.
What did you just say, Brandon? I want you to listen to what he says. Seriously, listen to what he says. Go ahead, Brandon. What happened in the fall?
For those who don't know, the popular topic was that Giants door out in Washington State.
For those who don't know, can you explain that?
Yeah, so these people on TikTok found this weird shaped rock on the side of a mountain that they claimed was a door that led to the world of giants or something.
And there's a really bad CGI of it opening and closing. And what happened to that original video, buddy?
It was taken down.
And threats were made against the person and all this, and a wonderful story evolved. And then what happened? What happened then was we had every influencer on TikTok, on social media, going out there. Now, I was amazed that the Department of Natural Resources didn't come in and shut the area off, which would have added to the mystique, I'm sure.
Right, that would have added to the atmosphere that had been created.
However, I probably would have, because I was really afraid someone was going to die out there and fall off in this thing, because they were up there climbing these rock faces. These were just people who had no business being out there, first of all.
Natural selection.
Right, exactly. But you know how that goes, though. It's someone's fault. So it couldn't be theirs. Couldn't be the idiot's fault who climbed to the top of this and, fell into a crevice. But, there were some terrible, terrible fakes that were made with that. And one of the ones I remember that stuck out was, in this crack, you can see a human skull. If you zoom in and look at that human skull, first of all, it's a phone that's shooting this, and the human skull is a snail shell. It is a snail shell. And you can see that just as plain as day, unless you have never seen a snail shell before in the wild.
Oh, pareidolia is funny like that.
Oh, it is, isn't it? But it also makes you a million clicks if you say it's a skull.
It does.
So what I'm saying though, Brandon, is what you just pointed out. So after this story faded, it literally faded. What happens? Miami.
We got to get the next batch of crazy going. Let's have aliens in Miami.
And that's exactly what happened. Because there's money to be made on this stuff. And, you know, I mean, I don't know how to make it. If I did, you know, I'd probably be out there doing it, but not,
Right.
I'm not going to make up stuff. I'm just saying there has to be a legitimate way to do this. And that's why we don't make it, by the way, except for thanks to our generous supporters who support Wild and Weird Radio and Wild and Weird Radio Live and all the good things we do, because we are trying to actually do something that's legitimate and get out ahead of some of this stuff. Because honestly, we can find the best evidence in the world. Honestly, I believe we have found some of the best evidence.
Yeah, I agree.
I really do.
Yeah.
I believe we found some of the best. Do you hear about it? No, you do not. You do not,
because
hear
it's
it.
not sensational. It
not
doesn't have a
sensational.
spooky story, and nobody's going, "What? Did you hear that? What the?"
Yep. Yep, exactly.
Sometimes that happens, but it's never like excited. We're never like, "Oh my god!" It's like, "Did you hear that?"
It's more like did that happen? You know, that's kind of what happens with us. You know, that's the startling thing that you'll see with us. But my point is that it doesn't matter what we catch, because it's not 10-foot tall aliens. It's not giant doors opening. It's not, you know, smoky humanoids materializing out of portals, which is amazing because I'm pretty good with electronics. I really am. But I can't make a portal generator.
Right.
Not yet. No.
Well, what really ultimately I think needs to happen is that people who enjoy this topic need to keep enjoying the topic.
Yeah.
People who are researchers in this field need to actually subject themselves and their research to the scientific method. And that let the pop culture stuff do what it's going to do. There's no way it's too big of a sensation for us to stop at this point. But what we can do is we can use it, and we can use that moment to redirect some of the people who are our fans, you know, who think that this stuff's just like, oh, this is just really cool. Did you hear this story? Did you hear this story? Well, what if we told you that this was more than a story?
Right.
Okay. Like
right.
what?
Well, I saw Mothman. I saw that. I saw that picture, that thing. Well, that thing's real.
Exactly. And when we're able to grab those people and you can bring them in and be like, look, this something weird is actually going on, but we need to look at it in a way that, you know, Mothman's not your favorite cryptid. You know, you just, Mothman's not even a cryptid. The Hopkinsville Goblins are not your favorite cryptid because they're not a cryptid. They're your favorite alien. The Mothman might be your favorite high strangeness entity. But
that doesn't make for good bumper stickers and stuff, though.
I know, right? And it doesn't help these cryptid wikis or Wikipedia or any of those with their clicks, because if you go to some of these websites, they have these bios almost. It's like if you used to go to the old Marvel website and you looked up the characters from Marvel Comics and you could read their origins and bios and
I remember
all that.
Let's just point it right there. I mean, Mothman, Flatwoods Monster, Bigfoot, blah blah. Even if they were cryptids, even if you want to put them in the cryptid category, I don't care. But what I care about is things that don't exist being put into the cryptid category that everybody is just convinced exist. Siren
like
Head,
the Jersey Devil.
Siren Head. You know,
like Siren Head's
you know, that's a great example. Like, do you know how people believe that crap is real?
The rake.
The rake, exactly. The same thing.
That's the recent one.
It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but there's legends that say that this happened, blah 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 blah, thousands of years ago.
Well, that's fine. But what was the name of that creature? I'm sure they didn't call it the rake.
No, they didn't, did they? And I'm sure it didn't do exactly what the rake does. Or, you know, you're saying it does. Now, we do know that there are people who like to steal other people's stories and create them in their own. Again, is that what we're dealing with? Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, that is probably what it is. There's just a clever little retelling of these, you know, these old stories. Look at what was it? Grimm's fairy tales. There's a great example.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah,
They didn't write those fairy tales.
Mm-mm.
They just collected those fairy
there were
tales.
stories that were told to them, folklore that was told to them that
Bingo.
they just tweaked just enough to be able to say they authored this book.
Yeah, if you have
exactly.
a really old copy of it, there usually is something at the beginning of each story. It tells you like where they got it from and how old they think it
Yeah.
is, and
Yeah,
like it's pretty interesting to see like the
yeah.
origins of some of these stories.
But that's the whole point. They were changed. They
Yep.
were all these little pieces were changed, and all of a sudden it's something else. It's taken the life of its own. Do I believe that there were giant, shadowy figures in Earth's past? Well, I can't say there wasn't. I don't have any photos. We didn't have cameras. Those things on the cave walls look pretty big sometimes. Someone could say they were shadowy, but I don't think that's what those were either. Does it fit the rake? Nope, it sure doesn't.
No.
See, that's the thing that gets me about influencers
Yeah,
because that's exactly what they do is they influence people with their crap just so
yeah.
they'll keep clicking on their videos.
Yeah. So even though we have giant, tall shadow figures in history,
Hmm.
and we do have those, let's be real, we do have those accounts. Do they have snarly teeth? No, they do
They're wearing
not.
a hat.
Are they wearing hats? Typically not, but a lot of people think that they are. Do they have, sharp clawy hands that reach down to their knees? Typically not. Again, now we get into the issue of the creation of these things
Yeah.
based upon the reality that it's out there. That's the whole egregore effect, right?
Yes.
So can and I've said it before, can some of the things that we are talking about out there witnessing at times look the way that they do? Because that's something else that's using that particular symbolism that we have in our heads and saying, oh yeah, I'm going to use that. It's perfect camouflage. I'm going with that.
Or maybe that's just our brains trying
That's
to
what I want
match
to
it with
think.
something that we understand already.
Maybe, but
Which we did. It is
it's
known
possible.
fact that our brains will do that.
Sure.
Hmm.
Our brains will try to rationalize things and make them fit into these bins, so to speak, that make sense. So that way it doesn't melt our brain. In which case, if that is happening, you have to question what just happened
Hmm.
And why?
and why.
Yeah.
For example, the chupacabra. There's two different stories of chupacabra. You have the
Great
Puerto Rican alien that they say was inspired by the movie
species.
Species, but
Mm-hmm.
it did nothing that the creature in Species did, especially, when children are the ones seeing it. And then you've got the blue dogs, which are
Hmm.
chupacabra, which are basically coyotes with mange
Yeah.
and other dogs, feral dogs with mange. I saw one myself in Mingo County, West Virginia, and I called Ron as soon as I saw it, and I said, "Dude, I understand 100% now why people see this thing and think it's an alien because the only place that it did have hair was down the ridge line of its back where it couldn't bite and chew, so it was sporadic and it looked like it had hairy spikes coming out of its back."
Hmm.
And it was real skinny and gaunt because it was, just eaten up with infection. And it looked terrifying. And I saw it probably, I don't know, it's probably about 40 yards away. It was ran across the interstate, and I was like, I just saw a chupacabra. That's hilarious. And but it's definitely, I could see where somebody who had no idea what they were looking at, like if they didn't know what a dog looked like or didn't know what a coyote looked like, that they could see this thing and be like, oh, that's a weird cryptid creature.
Yeah.
So some of these things I can understand.
Some.
but
Some.
but that's some. It goes into
But
the
seeing
very small
something.
category.
But seeing things, Joe,
Yeah.
and then making up an entire bio of these things and
Yes.
putting it out as fact, that is something that is totally different.
It
That's
is.
that's that's kind of what we're getting at here, though. That's that's a different thing. That's like I said, that's almost like like you're creating your character for Dungeons and Dragons.
And that is literally cryptozoology's biggest fight.
Yeah,
Are the people that do that and the people that support those stories and lump them into reality.
yeah. I got to stop that.
And Yeah, how do we do that without
Data.
like being mean?
We do it with data.
Like, because that's what happened. Like, so many people
yeah.
get offended and hurt when there was like, no, that's fake, that's fake, and they're like, no, I'm invested in this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but you do it with data, and the data it'll play out in the end. If it's going to show you one way or the other, if it's this or that. Yeah. And it's just, you've got to be willing to actually do that if you really want to do the research. Again, this doesn't really apply to those people who are just doing it for entertainment. If you're cosplaying and whatnot, that doesn't matter. That, have fun. Who cares? But if it's the people who are going out there and who are going into the field and then they're coming back and they're swearing that they saw this and it's 100% this, it's 100% that, and they have nothing other than a story. There's no physical evidence. There's no nothing. Then we have to ask ourselves, what is that? Like, what do we do about that? You know, there's no evidence. If there's no evidence, any evidence whatsoever, except for just an anecdotal story, then you have to look at it like, well, what's there? So then you have to examine the person, right?
Yeah.
And you have to look back at the person, and you have to kind of delve into their history. Like, well, are they a writer? Are they, you know, are they this or that, or you know, and then you kind of gather up enough data to figure out if they're either a credible person, or they have a YouTube channel where they talk about, you know, Yetis and whatnot, and they just want some more members. So these things will play themselves out. Is what I'm saying, and that doesn't mean everybody's lying. Don't get me wrong.
No, and it doesn't mean you're
that.
right. 100% does not mean that everybody's lying. Some of these stories. Nope. People don't know how to gather the evidence, so it's just the story that comes back.
Yep. But if you're going out there and you're saying you saw, you know, Slender Man, and he chased you down the block and he tried to get you, or et cetera, I'm going to ask other questions, like, you know.
And it's not doing it to be mean. It's not doing it to try to prove you wrong. It's doing it because we're.
No, I want to know if you actually experienced what you think you experienced, or did something make you think you experienced that. That's what I'm getting at. So we don't know. That's what I'm getting to here.
So Brandon, last takes on cryptozoology. What do you think needs to come around in the community and change and to benefit for the better?
Yeah, one thing that needs to definitely stop is don't believe everything you see. You know, actually, like, look at it logically. You can even just do a quick Google search. You know, try to find out exactly how certain things move in the air or in the water. You can even like look up comparison videos. I mean, you can even a lot of those videos on TikTok are altered anyway. So try to find the original video. Just do a reverse image search and see if you can find the original post. I mean, do some work.
Do some work. I don't think you could have said that any better. Do some work.
Yeah.
Do some actual work. Don't just take someone's word for 100% gospel, including ours. Don't do that. That's why at the bottom of these things, we usually have a big list of links that I go in there and I put in for you guys. They're there for you to go and look for yourself. It's the same reason that when we do presentations, we have our codes up there where you can literally in real time sit there and snap them and fact check us right there on the spot. That is what needs to be done. If you've got the thing, then let's see the proof for the thing. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Otherwise, we've just got some really cool stories, and, you know, people are going to be drawing some really cool art based on it. And, you know, that's where it pretty much is as far as I'm concerned. Not everything's real. Not everything's false. It's a weird world we live in, and it's only getting weirder.
And if you're an enthusiast, don't get me wrong. If you're an enthusiast into cryptozoology and all things high strangeness, we love it. If you have questions about that, feel free to ask us. We're open and we're not going to be mean about it.
Oh yeah.
Like we'll be real with you, but we'll tell you where to find good resources. We'll tell you where to start. We'll give you those pointers here and there on where to look at for information. and also where to buy some of our stuff.
Yeah, got to
But
keep the show going.
It's one of these things where the enthusiasm, if we can find a way to channel the enthusiasm into cryptids and into more so into research in behind these cryptids that exists for the pop culture side of it, if we can draw that same enthusiasm into the research, man, we'd be on to something. We'd actually probably make some waves, and there would be more discoveries coming out. There would be new species being found more frequently than not. And I think that's the direction that we should all take, instead of being these gruff old curmudgeons that sit on our hill with our sticks saying, "Yeah, get off my yard." Bring them in, teach them, show people, give people the tools that they need to do better, to be better. Expose some of these things. Yeah, these are fun to read, these are fun to look at, but like, here's some real stuff. Let's get out here in the forest and let's do an ecology check on the forest. Let's see what species could be here. Let's look up some old native storytelling. Let's look up some old pioneer storytelling and see what kind of creatures they were observing that we don't have on our scientific record. Let's look into the fossil record on these. Let's look in to see if these things could even still be here, but they're just really elusive and really rare.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and then let's all follow Wild and Weird West Virginia and the High Strangers Collective out to the TNT bunker area, where you're going to learn how to do a lot of that stuff yourself here very, very soon.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to do just that. We're going to take those people out there who want to go out and learn a little bit more, and we're going to show them kind of what to do. And we've got some incredible experiments lined up, and a really good day for everybody. So I cannot wait. We should be able to announce that pretty soon. And it will be announced on the live, Thursdays live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Maybe not this week coming, but it will be announced on a live. And keep watching the page for the announcement on that. If you're not a member of the group, you probably want to be, because that's where you're probably going to see the announcement pop up first. But as soon as we know, we're gonna put that up there. That way, everybody can pretty much go at that point, because I think they're going to sell out really fast.
I think so too. It's going to be an absolute blast. You guys are all going to enjoy it. Well, let's take a look here at some statistics.
What do we got this week?
Oh man, we got a whole different lineup. We got a whole different lineup in the cities. Okay. Our U.S., our countries and territories lineup is relatively the same. In the top 4, Australia is still holding that number 4 spot, with Jamaica at number 5. You guys are Philippines coming in right behind Jamaica. So that the countries lineup, that little 4 through 6 lineup is always in the mix and changing. The UK has bumped Canada out of the number 2 slot.
Oh, and that's a first.
What is it?
That's a first.
It is. And so now our country's lineup is: in first place, United States; second place, the UK; third place, Canada; fourth is Australia; fifth is Jamaica, followed really close by the Philippines and Germany. Wow. And then the Netherlands. So that's really, really cool. And then on our cities lineup is Columbus, Ohio, is the number 1 this week, followed by New York, then Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, then followed up going out of the country to Brisbane, Queensland, Australia.
Oh, wow.
That is cool. So Australia is actually in the top 4 for cities. And that's nuts, isn't it?
That is crazy. That's awesome.
And then Lexington, Kentucky comes in at number 5, followed by Atlanta, Georgia, Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, and Kent, Washington. It's Washington State.
We could probably thank Adam for the Australia listeners.
Probably.
Well, that's awesome.
So that's really, really cool.
Yeah, we're getting some people all around the world, guys.
we are always taking stories. If you want to send those stories over to wildandweirdwv@gmail.com, we're also taking reports. If you've had a recent sighting or even an old sighting that you would like to share, head over to wildandweirdwv.com, click the report a sighting tab, and then fill out the questionnaire. We will be in touch if it's not a cold case. If it's a cold case, we'll add it to our files. We might ask you if we can share it. And we will talk to you, but it won't be something
that's actually on the web. When they do the report, they can click
Okay.
the little book, the little box there that says, they get permission, blah, blah, blah. So, they don't have to do anything.
But we will contact you. We will talk to you. But if you've had a recent sighting, you could look forward to actually having us come out to your area, as long as you're within our immediate reach. If you're not, we can actually get you in touch with a researcher in your vicinity. As long as you're in the UK or in the United States or Western Canada, we can get people onto your case, guys. So we work with a large array of people, and we can get a researcher to come take a look and do the due diligence to look into your case.
We need to get some researchers from, some of those other countries there that you were.
We do. We need to get a researcher down there in Jamaica.
Yeah, we need
get a researcher in Jamaica and get a couple from Australia.
Yep. Any groups that are listening in Jamaica or in Australia, if you got any really cool paranormal groups over there, get a hold of us. Let us know, and we'll start sending people your way.
Yeah. We will add you into our contacts list. That way we have your information. We can get that out to people publicly.
I'm always super interested in what other cultures have, like cryptid wise and folklore wise. So I'd be really interested to see what's in Jamaica, honestly, because I don't know much about it.
Yeah. I don't know very much either.
Agreed.
Being completely honest, I know that there is a water monster. It's like a giant sea serpent kind of deal.
Yeah. So just reach out, guys, and before we embarrass ourselves. And let us know, what's Jamaica got, because, other than incredible beaches and just,
I remember a story
paradise.
about 3 little birds or something.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there's that.
All right, guys. You all, thank you to all of our super chatters. Everybody who supports this show, everybody who comes in and likes, shares, and subscribes. We want to thank each and every one of you guys. If you're listening to this video on any kind of podcast system that allows you to give a review or even a thumbs up, please do so. If you're watching us on YouTube, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend about us. Make sure you hit that notification bell too, because you're going to want to catch all the information that we've got coming out, as well as not be late for Wild and Weird Radio Live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. That is one of the shows that everybody looks forward to most, including your hosts here. It's the highlight of our week, guys.
Oh yeah. Things can be really bad, and that show makes it good. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome that we love the live. We love everybody that comes out and hangs out with us. It's a very interactive show. If you've never engaged in it yourself, jump over onto the live. It is a listener driven show, and you will figure that out really, really quick. If you yourself would like to come on Wild and Weird Radio, remember, you can always hit us up at wildandweirdwv@gmail.com. I told you where to find a sighting and where to report that to. Also, you can catch us out on the road coming up here in about 5 months. We're going to be showing up at our first, no, not even that. In 3 months, we're going to be making our first appearance at the Ohio Bigfoot Conference, followed up shortly after that by the Withville UFO Festival. And then we've been asked to be presenters at the Braxton County Fair. And we're going to be doing that, as well as some of our usual stops that you catch us at through the fall, including, places that have events in the fall. All right. Stay tuned, especially for the workshop dates. Those are coming very, very soon. So remember, Mothman is not your favorite cryptid. Bigfoot's not your friend. But we are. So stay wild and weird, everybody.
I mean, that's kind of true, I think, as far as it goes. I mean, about us being friends. I don't know about the other guys, I don't know. They can send you some mixed signals. That's all.